everybody. Welcome to today's live. I have the pleasure of speaking with Lord Gavin McLeod today. Lord Gavin is a celebrity facialist and he is the global brand representative for Augustina Spada. Lord Gavin has worked with Julia Garner, Kate Blanchett, Emily Blunt, Sharon Stone, Zoe Saldana, just to name a few of his client roster, getting them all ready for their red carpet glam. So Lord Gavin is an amazing skin facialist and he knows lots about skin. So I'm so excited to be speaking with him today. And we have your questions. So I'm going to invite Gavin in and we will go from there. But please do send through any questions if you have them in the live today, and I'll be sure to sort of keep an eye on those as they come in. Hello. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hi. Hi, how you going? Good. How are you?
I'm doing so well. It's so nice to see you. It's been a hot minute.
It has. It's so lovely to see you.
Thank you for having me. I feel actually looking at your past guests, I feel very honored to be here with you.
Oh, no, of course. And thank you so much for saying yes and coming on.
Of course. Love it.
Yeah. How's your week been?
It's been quite frantic. I've had a lot of client work because I'm actually this weekend heading out to the Marrakesh Film Festival. So I'm going to be there for 2 weeks prepping and priming faces for the carpets there and all of the movie showing. So it's going to be exciting, but it's been a full-on one, which is kind of funny because you think at this time of the year that you're wrapping things up, but in my mind, we're just beginning to get into the beast that is the award season.
I know, exactly. And it's been obviously a journey with the strike, and now that's sort of been, it's come to a resolve and things are sort of back on. It's been so great to see everybody on the red carpet promoting their work and having the artists work as well. And it's been great.
Well, and I just want to acknowledge kind of what you do in this platform, giving a voice to people who are behind the scenes. And, sometimes, makeup artists and hairstylists get a degree of attention, but throughout this whole period of the striking time, my thoughts have been with the set artists, the makeup artists, the hairstylists, the wig makers, who've actually been struggling for quite a lot of time. So I love the fact that you give a voice to those of us who are kind of allowing the icons that we all love to either be ready to show up as we expect them to, or to get them ready for character work. So I just want to say
oh, thanks so much, lovely. I really appreciate it. Thank you. So we've got some great questions here. So I thought what we might do, just break it down a little bit. We start a little bit about your sort of background, your career, how you moved into becoming a celebrity facialist, and then lots of questions around the brand that you work with, Augustina Spada. So we'll jump into those, and then some other questions as well.
Sounds good.
How does that sound? Amazing. So yes, so we did get some questions. People really wanted to know, how did you start your career? What got you into skin?
I'll try and make this a very truncated version because I can sort of talk ad nauseum. But once upon a time, growing up in the Highlands of Scotland, throughout my whole teenage life, I was really sort of impacted by having poor skin. I had quite aggressive acne for the majority of my teenage years. And I think I knew and learned at that moment that when you have a skin issue, it really does impact how we show up, right? And how we feel about ourselves, and we're so self-conscious. So when you have a problem and you're trying to find a solution and all the information is jarring and sort of counterintuitive, then you go on a quest or a discovery mission to kind of find more details. And so when I was finally able to get my acne under control, that began an ongoing passion and interest in all aspects of beauty. I think if I really look at when it went from being a clinical need to find a solution to a passion or something that really could become glamorous or exciting, I have to say it goes back to my love of as a child of watching QVC UK, and I would see the grand Tova Borgnine selling her perfume and her skincare, which was very advanced for its time. I mean, you were talking about anhydrous creams and encapsulated vitamin C. back in the 1990s. So for me, this was different. This wasn't about remedying necessarily a problem, but this was about stepping into a tribe, a luxurious existence, sort of a Beverly Hills idea of what beauty represented. And so it became very fanciful. It was almost like you could take Joan Collins from Dynasty and you could put her into a reality form, and this could be something by which you could enjoy that kind of a life. Now, that was sort of put on the back burner, and I had an ongoing love of beauty. And my husband and I always talk about how funny it is when we used to run off when we had no money to our name, and we go to Sephora at midnight in order to buy something, because we just had to buy something new, and we were both kind of junkies in that way. But as time went on, I then started to narrow my experience. So to back up a little bit, I moved to America thinking maybe I would be an actor. I didn't really thrive in an environment that told me that I wasn't right, or I didn't fit what they were looking for. And, you know, I was obviously still held back by my skin confidence. And I think that still continued even when I'd got it to a good place. So I fell into public relations, and I'd worked with fashion brands and luxury brands and jewelry brands and beauty brands. And so I'd done that for a period of time. Now, what took me from then to what I do now is quite a short leap. I was approached by a friend at the time who was an ambassador actually for an Australian company called Intraceuticals. And it exists only in the professional category, and they are the inventor of the oxygen facial. I would also argue that before hyaluronic acid became, an ingredient on every deck, they were one of the first pioneers in that space, working with different molecular weights. And so they asked me if I would come on and become global PR director, and I said, yes, okay. And, you know, when you don't know, when you don't peek behind the curtain, you think, well, obviously I can do a much better job than what's going on here. And then I got the, ooh, okay, wait, you're not in traditional retail. You don't innovate in a timely fashion, and you're not an advertiser, yet you still want to be featured in these big publications. But what they did have was a celebrity narrative. And Madonna had been a massive advocate for the oxygen facial. I think she probably put it on the map. The machines came with her on tour. Kim Kardashian was a big fan. Miley Cyrus was a fan, and so on and so forth. And I said, well, why don't we take that narrative and why don't we own the red carpet? And the owner of the company said, okay, go do that. So like most people who leave a previous job, I hacked into my old database, got all the information, put out invitations for the Met Gala, which will be 8 years ago this coming May. And the only team to respond was Halle Berry's. And so I got on a phone call with her stylist and our hairstylist, and we were talking about, you know, what the facial did, et cetera, et cetera. And they said, oh, this sounds great. I'm sure Halle would love it. I said, okay, great. So at that time, I was just going to dip into our sort of esthetician or spa partnerships. And I said, okay, let me figure out who will be. She'll come on Monday. Most likely it'll be a girl. And I called them on Saturday with the name of the person. And they said, no, we want you to do it. And I said, well, I don't do facials. And they said, well, you said that you have the oxygen machine at home. I said, well, I have it because I'm a narcissist, not a facialist. And they said, figure it out. And so I spent 2 days practicing with every village idiot in New York, coming through, you know, and then what really changed, and I'm trying to make this a quick story, I got to her house on Monday. It was the first Met Gala she was ever going to. I went into the apartment. She came down the staircase. She greeted me so warm and said, thank God you're here. I really need you. I've come off a long flight. How long have you been doing this? To which I responded, longer than I can believe. And like most men would love to say out loud, I led Halle Berry into her bedroom and I threw her down on the bed. I got myself situated and I started to do the oxygen facial. And it was making a really lovely change to the skin. You know, when you hydrate the complexion, it takes on an energetic vitality. And we can get to that in a minute. But it wasn't doing enough. And what I realized was I wanted to define the jaw. I wanted to separate what I call church and state. I wanted this to come in, I wanted this to come up, and I wanted this to be strengthened. And so I thought, well, I've done baking with my granny. I think we can just do kind of that thing. So long before I had any training, I had, this idea that, okay, I've just got to mold the face. I got to bake the face. I got to knead that dough. And the sounds that were coming seemed quite pleasurable to her. And so I said, okay, well, she's obviously feeling good. I'm like, okay, I think this is something, this is something, this is something. And about an hour and 15 minutes of literally being an imposter syndrome, I said, okay, and I still finish it, funny, I still finish every facial now. I go, okay, that's she done, my love. And she got up and she turned around. She said, I'm going to look at what you've done. She looked in the mirror, she turned around and she goes, I look and feel so beautiful.
Oh.
And in 5 seconds, it went from being nervous anxiety about the pressure to come to, where's my weed? Let's go. Like, the energy was so different. And I thought, okay, in that moment, that's what it told me. I made a good job of the very little experience I had, but kind of having an intuitive or instinctual idea of what could work. But what really landed on me, and I think this is an example to all of us out there who maybe are pivoting a career or doing something that we don't love, that isn't necessarily pulling on our skill set. But what I learned in that moment, what I truly loved, was that and I didn't have the language at the time, but now I say what I do, is I take the client and I ground them in their inherent deservingness to be there. Because unless you're Meryl Streep or maybe somebody else, then a lot of people have imposter syndrome. A lot of people feel like they're not enough, or they have to be different, or how do they get themselves ready for that mindset? So if I could, first of all, get them to trust that they've done the work, they belong here. Baby, they're part of the party. But then I have to, at the same time, elevate and enhance their energetic output to meet the expectation of the public or the event. And so I thread the needle on both. And when that happened, I decided this was something that was, in many ways, I don't want to necessarily call it my calling, but I learned that I was a prodigy. No, I learned that that was something that I had great passion in doing, and taking someone and converting that anxiety to enthusiasm and excitement was a real privilege. And that's why I made the commitment. I'm going to get trained. I'm going to figure out what I'm doing. And I'm going to seek out the very best technology and the very best skincare and bring the very best handwork to what I do with my clients. And so I consider myself, first and foremost, a facial masseur, because I'm the guy you come when you want to make it look tighter, glowier, snatched. And when you need to look your ultimate best and it matters most, that's when you give me a call.
Yes. I'm going to have to book in now.
Come!
I have to book in that call.
I slapped you in Sydney. What was I thinking?
Yeah. Exactly. Oh, that's amazing. What a story. That is just incredible. It really is, just to sort of see how that all evolved.
Yeah.
You know, and where it sort of got you. It's amazing. We can't wait to see you at Neiman Marcus in San Fran on December 15, Gavin.
I can't wait either. I'm going to be in the full holiday spirit. I'm seeing Mariah Carey's show tomorrow night, so I'll be ready to go.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, that's brilliant. And so how did the relationship with Augustina Sparta start?
Well, it's interesting. So I started doing facials, like I said, about 8 years ago. And I think by the time that 2019 hit, I had refined my skill set. I had been trained by a Japanese geisha who had been living in China, and I'd met her on a trip there, and she taught me the ancient art of Kobe-do, which is a facial sculpting modality that is quite intentional, very intense, a lot of tapotement, slapping movements, quite rigorous. And so I said, I know that I have, and I say this without, much ego, but just knowing and trusting it to be true, I think I have the best hands in the business as it pertains to what I do in the particular niche that I'm doing. And so if I'm bringing the best of what I have to offer, then I wanted it to make sure fundamental that I was seeking out the very best technology and the very best skincare to bring to my clients. Now, I was first introduced to Augustina Sparta. Now, no one knew how to pronounce it then. It was Augustina Spada, by Kim Kardashian, actually, in 2019. And she'd been telling me about this miracle cream that everybody was talking about. And it sort of transpired that I also had a friend that had lab samples that was using it. And people were talking about it as if it was the new creme de la mer, right? And so I started to use it, and I started to actually see pretty incredible, dramatic improvement to my own skin. Now, I think most people who are watching and who will watch this when it's uploaded will relate to this, is that when you have a problem you're trying to solve, whether it's something like acne, or let's say rosacea, or maybe pigmentation issues, right? When you get your skin to a new baseline, you get very involved and emotionally attached to the skincare that took you to that new place. And you stay with it. Yeah. Not knowing that actually, once you've up-leveled your new baseline, you can continue to have incremental refinement. And so I couldn't believe the results I was seeing from just using the rich cream for about 30 days. And the reason why I couldn't believe it is, quite frankly, I couldn't see it myself. I spent a lot of the time looking in the mirror, like Death Becomes Her, right? Like, what's going on there, right? And when you're so used to seeing yourself, you don't necessarily see the change. Now, if I was to come, let's say you had a baby or a puppy, okay, I come and see you, brand new baby, brand new puppy. I don't see you for 6 months, and I go, oh my God, they got so big. You don't actually see that they got so enormous, right? In combination. So I couldn't see it, but everybody else did. So whether it was friends or my partner, or whether it was colleagues, or whether it was going to Air One for an overpriced smoothie and the person saying, God, your skin's gorgeous, that was when I started to go, okay, let me have a look. And I saw that old texture issues and big pores and blemish marks, hyperpigmentation leftover was beginning to be moved away. And I thought, crikey, this is just a moisturizer. And I said, okay, I need to find out more about this, and I really need to figure out if this is where I want to go. And there was so much noise around about the brand, and every time I tried a different product extension, I found it to be equally as impressive. And it's quite a funny story. So during the height of COVID, we're having gin and tonics at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we're thinking about the next steps in our lives. And, to put a slightly serious cap on it, I was also dealing with cancer during 2020 and 2021. And so I was very much about, where am I going? What's going to get me up in the morning? What inspires me? Where do I want to take this hard fought for place in this industry and kind of up level what I'm doing? And how do I align myself with a brand that I feel is exactly what I need it to be, exceptional, but also has moral clarity to it? And the more I researched Augustine Spotted, the more I was excited about it. And this is a very Hollywood story. So I don't know why, but for some reason I was risking suffocating to death to go to, in the height of COVID, to go to one of the malls in Century City, which is here in Los Angeles. And I have a very long-term friend / acquaintance. For whatever reason, we never go deep, but we tell each other we love each other. And we've known each other for 15 years. And it's, I love you, I love you, I love you. And it kind of stays there.
Yeah.
Anyway, she's a phenomenal woman, an incredible jewelry designer. Her name's Lori Rodkin. Brilliant fragrances too, by the way. And she was levitating, and I say levitating because she's the preeminent fashion goth, Rick Owens, Demi Lee, the whole thing. And as she's coming out of J. Crew, which took me by surprise, I was like, Lori, hi, Lori. And she's like, hi, Lord Gavin. So I walked over to her, and she introduced me. She said, Melanie, this is Lord Gavin. He's a great facialist. You should work with him. And it was actually Melanie Griffith. And Melanie Griffith, working girl, or Dakota's mom, depending on your generation who's plugging in, she was one of the angel investors in the brand. And she said, you should work with my brand. I said, what's your brand? She goes, Augustinus Bader. I said, okay, that's how you pronounce it. I said, well, who do I talk to? She goes, you have to talk to Charles Rosier, who's our CEO, co-founder. DM him. So I DM'd him on Instagram. I said, this is what I do. I'd love to work with you. I get a thumbs up emoji. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm like, okay, well, that would be great. Yeah, let me know when we can connect. Seen, unresponded. So a week goes by. A week in COVID time was like a month. So a week goes by, and I think, oh, I'll just send him another message. No, let me know when you can chat. And I get a hug emoji. And this is how millennial I am. I Googled the meaning of the emojis to see if I could find a cryptic clue to what was being said to me. And finally, I think it was about, I don't know, middle of the night. And I said to him, listen, I really would love to get on a call with you. And he said, well, why don't we talk in about 20 minutes? And I think it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, my time or something like that. And I got on the phone with him, and we ended up speaking for 2.5 hours. And when I was exposed to Professor Bader's work, when I knew that this brand was founded on the principle of funding this incredible medical advancement in wound healing technology, when I knew that the packaging was second and third generation recycled, when I knew that the price point was not about being the super glam brand, it was about the fact that the cost of the juice is so micromatched and so meticulous in its formulation, and where they wanted to go, how they wanted to grow it, how they felt about their customers and the consumers. And it was quite holistic. It was about empowering people through every stage of the aging process. And as you notice, as a brand and also as an individual, we never, and I never say anti-aging, because we've learned what that is. The alternative to aging is death, and we all want to stay alive and thriving. So we talk about proactive aging solutions to allow you to feel your ultimate, to feel supported at every stage and cadence of your life. And so by the end of that conversation, he said, let me know if you want to join your company. And I said, I want to join your company. So I joined about 3 years ago, first of all in a kind of a consultancy role, looking at the expansion into spa, clinic, hotel. And then as they got to know me and I started to factor in my celebrity clientele, and as I started to sort of advocate and communicate the brand, just about 3 months ago, I was promoted to the position of global brand representative, really working with our retail partners, working with our spa clinic partners, working with celebrity talent and red carpet occasions, to bring out the very best nuances of the brand. And I help formulate our professional facial protocol that you can have at our branded spa clinics or at our hotel clinic partnerships throughout the world, including Australia and soon to be in Mecca.
Amazing.
Yeah.
How exciting. That's great.
It was a long answer to your question. I'm sorry.
Exactly, yeah. Well, I have to say, I prepped with my AB skincare this morning. I mean, I used the cream and I used the rich cream at night, and it has really changed my skin. It's evident. It is an investment, but it's evident as you use it consistently. So I can't live without it now.
Great, I love that. Another one hooked on the sauce.
Exactly, yeah. But actually, we did have a question around it. Someone wanting to invest in, they're intrigued by the brand, and they'd love your sort of thoughts on where to sort of begin with the skincare line.
Great. So I love this question because it's quite simple. Now, I want to get one thing out of the way. I know it's not being asked, but I also want to address the sort of price point of the brand, right? You have brands that are in our sort of price category. And oftentimes they are priced because of the marketing spend behind them, so we get awareness of them, or they are deliberately positioned at a premium space so that you become what I call lifestyle aspirational, right? Augustina's butter is a premium price. I forget what it is in Australia, but I know the 50 ml for the rich cream is about $300. And the reason why it's expensive is, again, everything is controlled in-house, everything is manufactured by us, everything is checked by our team. The TFC8 ingredient, which is the compound that is unique and proprietary to the brand, I call it Professor Botter's brain in the bottle, is all checked by him. So everything is very contained and meticulous in its formulation, and we're using very, very refined, high-level ingredients. So that sort of generates a price point that it has to land at. And then when we come to our luxurious packaging, it almost has to be dressed as it would to the party that it's invited to be at, right? So if it has this price point, but it shows up in a very sort of factory-made generic packaging, then it does lose the trust of the consumer. And so a lot of our imaging and optics is just to match the price, and the price is dictated by the quality and the reassurance that you're buying next generation technology. So we'll park that there. The best way to enter into the brand is with one of our two iconic moisturizers, which you mentioned. So we have here the Rich Cream. This is in the 50 ml. Also comes in a 30 ml and a 15 ml. So don't get worried. If you're curious about the brand and you think, oof, there's a lot of money and I don't know, you don't have to start with the baby, or the daddy rather. You can start with the baby and you can work your way up. We also do have, if you buy it through some of our retail partnerships or on our own website, payment plans, okay? And then the other one to look at would be the cream. Now, this is how they're slightly different. I call them the Olsen twins, okay? They look identical, but they make us feel quite different things, okay? So let's start with Mary Kate, everyone's favorite. That would be the Rich Cream. This is our global #1 bestseller. Okay, it has that thick, unctuous, decadent, gorgeous glow to the skin, that aspirational kind of I made it in life vibes. You know what I mean? You're sitting at your dresser, you're the girl, you're probably the lead tastemaker in your community. Everybody wants to know what you love. This is the sauce that makes you compelled to be that person. It has a wonderful, gorgeous strobe effect to the skin. So if you're somebody that is normal to dry, dehydrated, this is going to be an incredible, nourishing, moisturizing solution for you. If you're somebody that likes to have like a wonderful radiance, a true glow to the skin, This is the perfect preparation for makeup and things of that nature. What I often find, however, is that the rich cream, even though it's designed for skin types which are normal to dry, has universal appeal. Why? Because the way that it works is we're also dehydrated. Whether it's our coping mechanisms, our cocktails, medication, deliberate sun worshipping, free radicals, pollutants, air conditioning, all of that stuff, it strips our skin. And oftentimes you find that people have excess oil production or breakouts because they are dehydrated and the body's trying to find a solution. So when you mitigate that and you overdose, or you give the correct dose of hydration reservoir to the skin, it can actually resolve a myriad of complaints or inconsistencies with the complexion, which is truly why I think the rich cream is our global #1, other than it just making you feel utterly fabulous. Okay, so it's kind of got that J-Lo showgirl, get on a stage, you what a life vibe, and I love that. Okay, amazing with foundations and all foundations, creams, sticks, powders, liquids, you name it. The cream is slightly different. I call this one Ashley Simpson because it's a little bit overlooked, but it's still utterly fabulous. It is an ultra lightweight, more of a lotion texture, fast absorbing solution that was originally designed for skins that is normal to oily congested. Now, if I look at this formulation, it has here a little bit of vitamin A, it has shea butter, hydrolyzed rice protein. It's really got a lot of ingredients that's about calming and soothing the skin, but also nourishing and working on texture of the skin. So if you're worried about texture, if you're worried about pigmentation, this is a great daily moisturizer to use. Or if you want skin to look less glowy diva glam and more rested, settled energy, youthful vitality, that could also be your solution. Also, you can change it during the time of the season or your travels. So for example, if I go to New York City in August, I'll probably use the cream because I want something lighter on my complexion when it's humid outside. I want to mitigate that excess oil production. As we go into the winter months, depending on where we are, the rich cream is going to give us a protective barrier to make sure that we're nourished, hydrated, and protected. Now, why I say that these are interchangeable in some ways is because these two products, as in every product, is powered by TFC8. TFC8 stands for Trigger Factor Complex 8. As I mentioned, this is Professor Botter's brain in a bottle. It's comprised of amino acids, so it's a chain link of peptides. You also have high-grade vitamins and something called bioidentical synthesized molecules. What does that mean? It means when you deliver the deck to the skin receives it and perceives it as skin matrix identical. So there's no rejection or resistance. There's an immediate adaptation and adoption to the ingredients to bring about that instant and long-term accumulative transformation to the skin. The TFC8 also acts like a toolbox. So for example, if the ceiling came into my house, God forbid, if there was a scary spider over there or the toilet was clogged, probably the worst occurrence, then I would look for different tools to remedy that situation. In the same way, the TFC8 is a toolbox in the skin. So depending on my lifestyle choices, have I had too much caffeine? Have I had too much alcohol? Did I sleep? Was I out at the beach? Am I stressed in my life? It's going to recalibrate in real time to give you what you need as you need it to keep happy, harmonious, balanced communication within the skin. So that's where I would start it with one of our iconic moisturizers in the beginning, and then you can fan it out based on your specific needs.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, it does. It certainly does. And as you said, they do come in the little duo travel packs, so that there's a starter kit. So you get, I think they're 15 mil each for the cream, and then that's the perfect sort of entry point.
Like you say, listen, we and me encourage people to really try things at their own pace, right?
Yeah.
Beauty shouldn't be that serious. You know, we're dealing with serious issues in terms of remedying skin complaints and helping your mindset around who you are so that you show up. But at the end of the day, dip your toe in the water first and see how you get on. I do like to point out, however, that the tenets of authentication. So if you look at dermatologists, international global beauty editors and directors, journalists, if you look at celebrities, you look at clinic and spa and hotel partners, you look at all of the people that talk about our brand, that talk about it as being the best in the business, that talk about the rapid and radical transformation they've seen to their skin. There's so many different areas of influence who say this is it, that should give anybody confidence to try at their own pace, but to dive in.
Exactly. No, absolutely. And so we did have a question around what sort of is the best routine and the products to get sort of that red carpet ready skin. So should we sort of talk through sort of your process around how you prepare your clients for the red carpet?
Yeah, it's interesting because there's what I call day of prep, and then there's prepping a little time in advance. Now, that really depends on the relationship that I have with the client. Every season, I sort of pick up clients that I've never worked with before, and it's just for that occasion. Or if there's a bit more time, then we can be methodical about it. I like to start with general rules to begin with. If you're doing any invasive procedures, whether that's Botox, fillers, thread lifts, lasers, then I would want you to end that portion of your work 6 weeks before any major event, right? So that's gonna be the last time that you do it, so that you have enough time to recover and get your settled look to the skin. Also about the right time, 6 weeks to 4 weeks out, that you could do a baby peel. Now, you could do something like a VI peel, or you could even go to my chum Shani Darden and get her peeling process in order to get just a bit more extra exfoliation. So we're getting to fresh, nubile skin in order to get that next to its next level. So that's sort of the timeline around that. Oxygen facials, I'm still a big believer, have their place, and they're really good at deep rooting hydration links within the skin. So if we think about it, we're building a reservoir of hydration, and then we want to just feed it with our aftercare, making sure that we're using ingredients with hyaluronic acid, with squalane, with glycerin, with a humectant that's going to drive more reservoir, more vital hydration, moisture to the skin and kind of lock it in place. So an oxygen facial is a great choice if you're going to do that for a red carpet event. Or by the way, this is transferable to a wedding, or I like to call it a revenge reunion. You know, if you're maybe catching up with people you haven't seen them, or maybe it's high school reunion, you want to look like you won, then I would ideally, a series of 6 is optimal, 1 week apart. But of course, budget constraints. If you can do 2 oxygen facials 2 weeks out from the occasion, maybe the last one the day before or the day of, depending on your schedule, that would be perfect for you. Now, in terms of just general maintenance to the skin, and I'm a big believer of don't shock the skin, right? A lot of traditional skincare brands bring about a response through agitation. Augustine's Butter brings around a response through communication. Right? So what we want to do is bring things back to a balanced place. Communication is key. We're not trying to trick the skin into doing something it didn't understand before. We're simply trying to get it back to its level of process and communication that it did when we were in our youth. Up until the age of 25, we are fab. Then we start the slow walk to death, okay? So we want to get back to the point where the skin is not lazy and it's having that communication of repair. So what I'm a big believer in, and this is sort of non-negotiable, at nighttime, and by the way, this is if you have an award show or not, at nighttime you are going to do a double cleanse, okay? That is not a suggestion, that is a mandate. The first cleanse is simply removing the people from your face, okay? The second cleanse is really getting into the pore and freeing up any barrier, any debris, or any leftover cells in order to allow full optimal penetration of your skincare product. So that's a non-negotiable. Now you can use the same cleanser. For example, if you are somebody that goes on Instagram that loves a false lash and a real beat, okay, you love like a Hung Van Gogh or a Patrick Ta like makeup look, then you might want to start with a cleansing balm, right? That's a really good way to emulsify and bring away the levels of makeup and SPF. And then I would go into something, a foaming cleanser or a gel hybrid cleanser, something that's really going to emulsify enough to excoriate the pore. So that's what I would say. Start with a very clean canvas. Again, I keep it simple. example. Daytime, I want you to use a stable form of vitamin C. So use a serum that is really about brightening the skin, working on any discolorations, really helping to protect the skin from free radicals throughout the day. And then you're going to seal that with a moisturizer of choice. And then you're going to put your SPF on top, and then you're going to do your makeup preparation. At nighttime, instead of a vitamin C serum, then I do advocate using a stable form of retinol or vitamin A that you can tolerate. Okay. Now, if you are able to tolerate a prescription strength, tretinoin, Tazorac, adapalene, great. If you are somebody that is more sensitized, but you don't want to take the risk of downtime, then you can look for a variety of retinols or retinols on the market. Augustinus Bader came out with their own retinol solution a few months ago. It's a very concise, direct approach to retinizing the skin, but using the TFC8 to offset and mitigate any sensitivity, so you have full doctor results without any downtime. But if you look at the two holy grail ingredients in the world, vitamin C and vitamin A are the ones that are time and time again proven to physiologically change the skin. Vitamin A is going to strengthen the skin, thicken the skin, expedite cellular turnover, is going to mitigate any potential acneic breakouts, and as a side effect, is going to refine the canvas, really blurring the lines, fine lines, wrinkles, etc., and helping to lift and anchor the skin. So they have their place. I'm also a big believer in acid exfoliation. So, ideally you would be doing that daily, but certainly don't jump in. Don't go into the hot bath without testing the tootsies first. So I like to start that off maybe 2 or 3 times a week at night if I'm not using a retinol, or in the morning if I am using a retinol, something like colic or salicylic, just to help the exfoliation process ongoing. In fact, my favorite product, period, hands down, from Augustinus Bader is called the Essence. This is a triple acid solution. It has the wrong name. Okay, it has the wrong name, so don't get confused. Essences, and you can see this in brands like SK2 and other favors, it sort of is a nice refresher of minerals and nutrients and vitamins to the skin. This is an acid exfoliant. So you have PHAs, BHAs, and AHAs. So it works in Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, right? Works in all signs of the skin. So the holiday that we did 10 years ago that is showing up now. The negligent behavior we did last year, and the forgetful behavior we did this morning when we ran errands without our sunblock. Yeah. So it's going to work on all those layers. So that's really key. Now, when we get to the day, do you want me to describe my facial to you?
Yes, yeah. Okay. Of course, yeah.
Okay, so I often greet the client, like I say, depending on them. There's a structure. So everybody wants me the day of the event. I actually prefer the results the night before, because what I do with my work is I drain the face. So I come in, lie down. Okay. I always start with a deep rhythmic massage to cleanse the skin. This is why I love a cleansing balm, because if you are curious about doing facial massage at home, it's the perfect ingredient to give you that slip and play time so you can really work the contours of the skin. So I go into that. What I say is I'm unlocking the bonds of the face, because we're very held tight. Whether it's the TMJ and the grinding at night, whether it's the person that won't text you back, whether it's the social media that's triggered you, we hold a lot of tension. So I start by moving that and working that into the skin, getting the client quite used to my intentional touch, which is deep, which is rhythmic, which is direct. Okay, so I want to wake them up and know what's coming. So I'll do that. Then I'll wipe that off. I'm actually launching my own microcurrent device next year. So I'll show you a sneak peek. So I start with this, the Apatris Sculpt. Okay, it's just so gorgeous. I can't stand it. But I used that, so I put the conductive gel on and I take them on a journey of, okay, so it moves everything. So I focus on the jawline, I focus on the cheek plane, I focus on the brow. Okay, so I do that for about 10 minutes. I'll cleanse them down, and then I go into an oxygen infusion. Now, very kindly, Professor Bader has made a water-based serum for me that I put into my oxygen concentrator. So I do an oxygen facial for about 20 minutes. This is to deeply root the hydration. Remember, folks at home, you can lift it, you can freeze it, you can fill it, you can fry it. Done it all. But if you don't address hydration and communication in the skin, you don't look younger. Okay, so we're going to hydrate the skin, but the great thing about an oxygen facial or oxygen modality is that it is antibacterial, antimicrobial, anti-inflammatory, takes redness down, destroys any bacteria on the skin, and allows the propulsion of serums deeper than they would topically go. So we're building that infrastructure of moisture. Okay, after that, then I go my first round of my massage. I start with the face oil from Augustina Spada. This is rich in omega fatty acids, hazelnut, karanja, argan, avocado. It's gorgeous. I actually call this product the mistress. So if I meet a client and they tell me that they've got a cream that they love, oh, I just bought my cream, I love my cream, oh no, I'm so sorry, I just love my cream. Take 2 or 3 drops of this into your old-fashioned, outdated, inefficient technology. Okay, joke, but not really. And then bring that up to the standard by using this in tandem. So I take about 3 drops of this, I rub it together, and then what I do is I work on moving along the jaw initially, opening up this portal, massaging down the neck so we can open up the lymph channel here, moving along, then cupping under the cheeks, lifting the brow, and then going to a very rigorous, I mean, it's not so much of a slap, it's more sort of like fingertips, but for sake, we'll call it a slap. So we move in and I'll go really fast, really hard, as much as I can to break up the bonds in the skin. I spend a lot of time massaging the cheek plane. We want this to pop, pop, pop. So we tighten there, we pull this up, and then we drain under the eye and we pull it all down. So the rest of the facial, when I'm manipulating the face, we're unlocking the tight bond so it's more malleable and pliable to touch, but we're also draining that congestion. Now people think, oh, I'm puffy, and they think about lymph congestion as just being water. It's not. It's gross, okay? It's gelatinous, it's crystalline. A lot of the time that we do these rhythmic motions is to break up the crystallization in the skin so we can flush it to the channel and drain it out, okay? So we do it that way. Then from there, I'll do about 10 minutes of a Lima laser. I really like that tool. It settles the skin, it refines the skin, it gives an energy to the skin. From there, I'll go into an algae sheet mask that Professor Botta created for the professional category. And we bring to that, through kind of a rocking motion with a pad, this incredible serum of hyaluronic acid, squalane, glycerin, vitamins A, C, and E, aloe vera, green tea. It's all about nourishment, all about relaxation. Okay, and then we put that on, and then I'll take my favorite cryo sticks, which are from Angela Calia. Love them in gold, love gold. And then I'll work a lot through here, but primarily under. I don't take these so much to the cheek because I want this to be expanded. I want the rigorous work on the skin to give a little bit of an inflammatory response. So this gets larger, this gets lifted, and we pull the cold end so this drains out and gets more tight. So we have that kind of, everyone's getting their buccal fat cut out, right? So we kind of go that when you're done with it. So we do that. I take them over the eyes to rest them, up through the brow, really center them with that. Love these tools specifically. After that, I'll go into some radio, we'll get to that secret toy in a minute. I get to radio frequency. So for this, I use the Synergy Marble from Apatra. I want to be very clear. These are designed for mobile, on-the-go professional therapists. They are available to consumers at home, but they will run you about $14,000 each. So I just want to steady everybody for that. Comes with different light therapies. So you have red, obviously for anti-aging, it heats up. You have yellow for pigmentation. You have blue for bacteria or acneic response from the skin. But I love these because if you really work the skin with the, what they call anti-aging, but proactive aging at 42 centigrade, it lifts the skin, it tightens the skin, it gives you a crazy facelift look with it. So I use this for about 20 minutes on the skin. From there, I'll go into another round, then using the cream from Augustina Spada, and we really, we whip it. By this point, the skin is not resistant. The skin, the face isn't so tight, so we can really work and move and move and move and move and get into it. I then use my favorite, easy, by the way, this is such a cheap device, but it's so brilliant. If you're tired of your microcurrents being too costly or not giving you that kind of bang for your buck, you're not feeling the movement, you're gonna love this. This is called the Contour Kinetic. I have my name on it because I'm bougie. It doesn't come in gold usually, but I made it in gold. And it's a cupping effect. So we put it here, I don't know if you see it, and it suctions the face, okay? So again, it heightens the skin, and daily use of this morning and night will strengthen the muscle like a workout for your face. But the reason why I use this in a treatment, again, it expands volume. So what I'll do is I'll take this over the cheek and I'll thread this underneath, always making this come in and this kind of expand and come up and out. And then what I'll do after that, when I feel like they're really settled, I'll finish with an LED mask. I use a canopy, but if I'm on the go, then maybe it will be an Omnilux mask or a Dennis Gross mask or something. And then I take every client through a 10-minute guided meditation about setting the intention for what's to come. And usually what I found, if a client's going to an event, for example, how do you expand, all right, or enhance someone's experience? You help them define what they want it to be. No, I ask them every time, when you see yourself, visualization, coming out of the car, stepping onto the red carpet, how do you want to feel?
Yeah.
Because when we get really clear about how we want to feel in a situation, it reframes and actually changes our experience therefore out. And when we meet, if we keep that conscious thought, then the way that we show up, the way we behave, and people react to us, all comes back to that root idea of how do I want to feel in this moment. And then, usually say, I love you, and then they leave.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Oh my God. I can, the thing, I hold a lot of tension here. I actually went to the dentist thinking I had a toothache, but then he was like, actually, no, you have.
Grinding.
Yeah, exactly. So I need to kind of work on that at home and do something with like the massaging technique.
And get yourself a night guard.
Yeah. A night guard, yeah. But that's because someone did ask what's the best way to depuff my face in the morning.
Okay.
That's
very simple. So you're going to use a product that has a bit of slip, right? So you could use a cleansing balm, you could an oil, you could use a cream. For today's purpose, let me use the face oil, if I can get it open. Okay. So this is just very simple. And I could give this very long regime, but I want you to be able to actually do it. So I'll take a couple of drops in my hand. Okay. Rub it together. Take it all over the face. Rule of thumb, by the way, when you're working your skincare on the face, you want to go a little rosy. Don't think, oh, it made me red. Did it make you red, or did you just get microcirculation? Because if you don't go red, you might be dead. Okay? So we want you to get the blood flow going, because it immediately puts that skincare to use. So what I do is I do this, okay? This is before coffee. I take my thumbs, I press them under my chin, and I thread them along my jawline. Okay? Just by itself, starting here, up this way, on the track. This is going to open up this channel so that we can drain all of the childhood trauma that we hold here. Done. Okay, we'll move that up. So for sake of time, let's just do this 5 times. So 3, 4, and 5. We're going to add on to this. So we're going to take our fingers and we're going to start here. Thumbs stay on the track, and we're going to move our hands up on this angle. So the thumb stays going up the jaw, but we're moving it this way. Now you can do full palm, you can do peekaboo, whatever you'll reminder, but you're going to sweep under the eye, under the chin, along the jaw, moving it up this way. Okay? Just do that 2 more times. This is energizing and awakening the whole complexion and also opening up the structure. This is how I recommend everybody to apply their eye cream as well, by the way. So many people say to me, I have dark circles, I'm puffy, da-da-da-da-da. It's my genetics. Okay, sometimes it's not that your eyes are genetically puffy, it's just that your system is lazy. And that could be genetic too. But a lot of the time that we get puffiness or dark circles is because we're not draining out our sinuses. So if we start here, you can start here with the mouth, press up, quite intentional, don't hurt yourself, unless you like it, but move yourself up this way, and you can even put a roll into it this way, okay? Moving up here, you'll do that 5 times. 1, 3, 4, 5, okay? Then you're going to sweep under here and circle at the temple. You'll add that as a movement. Here, sweep under, circle at the temple. Here, sweep under, circle at the temple. Here, sweep under, circle at the temple. So we started with that, then we moved to that, then we moved to that, then we moved to that. Okay? From here, we're then going to take our fingers, Now, depending on your flexibility, what we want to do is we don't want to hit the cheek, but we want to hit under the cheek here, okay? So we're going to go up on the angle. Now, you can really go into it, okay? Or you can just flick it that way, or you can pad as you go up on the angle. I like this move because it really helps to dislodge, okay? You'll get on both sides. And you can do this for what feels comfortable, but usually it's like 10 seconds, okay? Then what we're going to do is take this, and we're just going to take the crux of our thumb and hold it under the cheek. Sweeping underneath, sweeping underneath, sweeping underneath, sweeping underneath. 2 more moves and then we'll be done with it. Take your fingers, you're going to press here, slide up. 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 Then you're going to take it down and you're going to massage down this way, and you're going to press out along the collarbone. 1, 2, 3. On the other side. 1, 2, 3, and that will drain all the junk that we just worked on.
Yeah, amazing.
That's simple, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's incredible. And so it was just really using, your fingers.
Now you can. I mean, for example, like you can use a cryo stick, for example. This is always feeling good. If you wake up in the morning and you look like you've gone rounds with Mike Tyson, stick those under your eyes immediately. Put it over. Make sure that you put an oil or a serum or some barrier between you and the frosted device so it doesn't give you frostbite. It doesn't make you super red. That's great. I do love gua shas, jade rollers. I like to keep them in the fridge. Whatever gets you comfortable with moving your face, touching your face, connecting with your angles. I particularly like the hand to face because the heat of the hand and the body is connected, and working on yourself helps to open things up. But do you? I would rather people find something that they find sensorial and pleasurable that they will commit to doing. Because the one thing that people don't get results from is not being diligent and consistent with the work that they're doing to make that change.
Consistency is key. And you'll definitely see the results.
No, we can have fun. So the basic story I told you about wash your face twice at night, wash your face in the morning. For example, if you've had a night of nightmares or passion, who knows, you might want to give yourself a cleanse in the morning. You can do that too. And I said, yes, C in the morning, A at nighttime. But you can play around with things. You can mask throughout the week. You can have lip treatments and eye treatment, whatever. Find something that you enjoy. And I often think, and just to give one more tip, sometimes skincare can be so overwhelming, okay? I often find the easiest way to start a relationship with a routine is to have products that make you feel good. And what I mean by that, you enjoy using them. You love the experience of using them. So the easiest way to start with is find a cleanser that you like the consistency of. I particularly love the foaming cleanser from AB because I was, brought up in the UK, boarding school vibes. So I like it to be very lathery, very soapy, kind of like that. That turns my face on and wakes me up, and I enjoy that sensorial touch and experience. And so knowing that I love that first moment, I'll be consistent with the others. So that could be a really easy way to start. One final tip also, just let you know, when people come to me and they say, this is my skin type, what do I? Okay, we all want to resolve the same issues, right? We want to look like we've barely lived. We want to look like we're naive and the world has not touched us, okay? And we want people to call us Benjamin Button or ask for our ID. Right? That's a given. So with most brands, especially with AB, with the TFC technology, we're already addressing what we call our proactive concerns. So that's already encapsulated in that compound within the product. So then I would say to you, how do you like your skin to look and feel? So knowing that it's a texture choice, not a results choice, because any product from AB is using the TFC technology, you can then determine how I like my skin to look and feel, and that can be a really easy way to make the right solutions for what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah, amazing. I do say that cleansing balm, the AB cleansing balm, oh my God, it's incredible.
It's incredible. And it lasts forever.
It does. Yeah. And it's brilliant to do the sort of, to work with and massage, and it's a perfect texture for it.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
It's incredible. You mentioned earlier, like having a retinol at night and a vitamin C in the morning. Do you have any favorites, like as in like a retinol or a vitamin C that you would use?
Yes, you know, I'm very honest with people. I say, like, listen, if you have a budget,
Mm.
then you should fully, and I'm not saying this as a paid endorser, I'm saying from someone who campaigned to be part of this brand that saw the results myself, then I would anchor you to the serum and the retinol serum at nighttime from Augustine
Mm.
Spada. However, if you are more budget conscious and you just want to have robust, science-backed information that's intelligent for the skin, that's going to bring forward a responsive change, you cannot go wrong by popping over to your local drugstore and picking up some CeraVe. It's that simple.
Mm.
Now, there are other sexy brands in the market, you know, obviously that are carried by a number of retailers. But I think, and there are oftentimes they're around about the price point of Augustine Spada. So in that case,
Mhm.
I would anchor you to AB. But if you are someone who maybe you want to spend $25, $30, $50, that's the money you're working with, then I would anchor you to CeraVe or La Roche-Posay or one of the French pharmacy brands, because they've done their due diligence, they are science-backed, they're dermatology tested and verified, and they are usually known for being very gentle and responsive to the skin.
Yeah, fantastic. See, I get a bit worried about retinol. I don't use it. My skin's super sensitive, but I'm so intrigued by the AB retinol.
It's phenomenal. Listen,
Yeah.
I say this all the time when I'm working with clients. I'm not the guy that can play around with them and take a risk.
Mm.
Okay. So when I am introducing new products to them, I want to make sure that they are going to have an immediate like woo, but I want long-term wow. But
Mm.
I can't set them on fire, right? So if they're
Yeah.
leaving me or the next day of the biggest event of their life, and
Mm.
you think getting ready for a wedding is something, try the Academy Awards or the Met Gala, right? You've got billions of photographs going around the world, then you can't take a risk. Every single client I've used the retinol serum on has
Mm.
never, and I say this unequivocally, had a reaction, and every single one of them has called me like a dealer and said, can I get more of that stuff? Because it's gentle, it's
Yeah.
harmonious, it's dosed in the right way to bring forward a rapid improvement to the skin
Mhm.
without the risk of making you look like you've run away from a house fire.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Is that, I'm wondering if that's available in Australia, the retinols.
I believe that it is. If it's not yet, then it's coming your
It's,
way. It
yeah.
might be because, you know, Australia is extremely stringent about their laws and testing. We've
Mm.
never had a product rejected, and if it's not there right now, it's probably just in the finalizing stage.
Hmm.
But it definitely is something. Check out Mecca, which is our Australian partner, or check out the Augustine Spada website for more
Yeah.
information. They should be able to let you know what's available. Yeah.
Yeah, because it is a little bit of that sort of, pardon the pun, a sensitive topic with retinol because people get worried about that sort of like, oh my God, it's going to burn my face,
Well, I
but
think that's a bigger story, right? Because a lot
mm,
of things, a lot of people in our mind have said that we have to go big, we have to be aggressive, everything has to be so hardcore.
mm,
And I understand that because every hairstylist says, oh, take your flat iron, don't put it on the hottest setting. What do? We want it hot,
yeah.
right? We want to go there. So we think that's going to be better for us.
Mm,
Just because the derm is telling you to get a prescription, just because your favorite brand is doing something, doesn't mean that you have to start with the number one concentration. What you need to be aware of is who is the brand, what is their philosophy, how do they bring about transformation to the skin in their other products. So if Augustine Spada is about heightened communication and bringing things back to a place of communication and balance, then you can trust that the retinol is not going to be entirely different from the rest of the brand. It's going to be
mm,
more in line to that. So do your due diligence and know that gentle and consistent is always the best way to have long-term improvement and refinement to the skin.
yeah. Yeah. Fantastic. And when it comes to, someone did ask, we discussed this around your sort of favorite skincare tools to use, but also someone said, should I invest in an LED face mask at
Absolutely.
home? Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, LED is one of those things that truly does work. Now, it
Mm.
doesn't matter the price point, really. You can get masks which are thousands. You can get, like I have, for example, I love the Omnilux here. In fact, I have a bunny rabbit, it chewed it or whatever.
No.
This is one for men, but they have one for women too. I love that. I love the Dr. Dennis Gross mask. I love the Apatra mask. I love Shani Darden's mask. I mean, as long as you're using one, I have the new Thera face from Therabody. They're all good, right? But here's the deal. If you want to see transformation in your skin from any toolage, and especially from light therapy, it's consistency. And it's knowing you have to do it every day, and you will not see an improvement until 12 weeks. So it's sort of like believing there's something out there in the universe, right? We believe the universe rewards us, or based on our faith background, we trust that there's something looking out for us. You've got to trust that the work you're putting in is going to bear forward a result. You go to the gym, you don't suddenly look like He-Man in 2 weeks of using something at the gym. You need to be consistent, and it will take easily minimum of 12 weeks before you go, that's gone, or whoa, that looks different. So that's the bigger thing. But in my own personal usage, I love Omnilux for an LED mask, probably my favorite. But you can find them from most reputable brands. And I like the Dennis Gross because I love looking like a robot. So.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. No, that's a great tip. And it's just consistency is key in any of it that you do.
And also the LED masks come in different ways. You have fixed structures. You have these ones which are sort of rubbery, right? So you have those ones. Find something that you like to wear. If you are somebody that likes to multitask, then you probably don't want to do one that you have to lie down for. If you don't want to muck up your hair, then you don't want one with straps to go over it. If you like something that's really multifunctional, that has light and cold and different colors, find that solution. The key is to find something that you enjoy doing, so that you turn this into me time and you honor me time, and it becomes part of your daily meditation of self-belief. That's how you have to think about it.
Absolutely. Well, I actually, when I put mine on and it's self-timed, I always meditate. It's my meditate. Like I always meditate. I concentrate and I breathe and I listen to my breath, and it's a complete switch off. No phones, nothing, and it's fantastic. And it's that kind of 10 minutes, or if I do 5 minutes.
Collect your thoughts, and if you do in the morning, it centers you for the day. Start with a meditation. If you've got a really long book to get through or a podcast that you love, listen to that. Allow that to be the time that is about self-soothing and caring, and make sure that that's a priority for you.
Exactly. That's it. Just quickly before we sort of wrap up, SPF. Yeah. Do you have your favorite sort of SPF?
I am addicted to it. They actually need to send me more. I really, really love it. I also love Supergoop. I think that's a really great product too. I'm not one of the Gestapo that's sort of mineral or chemical. There's a lot of information out there that's contrary to both. I say I'd rather you be consistent with usage. I'd rather you protect yourself appropriately. I'd like you to use a minimum of SPF 50 every day. My friend Carolyn Hirons always says, if you have to use a lamp to read, you don't need your SPF, but until that moment happens, you should be wearing it even indoors. And I do agree with that, because you look at people who statistically have used SPF religiously as part of their skincare regime, and they just look more youthful and vital. And don't forget, ladies, everything has to start from tip to tit, okay? This needs to come all the way down. If you're worried about your neck, you're worried about your clavicle, all of the things that make us go like, oh, we've spent all this time on our face, but this is all going, take it down, especially with your SPF. And even if it's cloudy and overcast and it's winter, that's actually sometimes when the rays are the most harmful. So do your due diligence and protect. And those of us who are joining us from Australia, you're the kings and maestros of sun protection. Mecca Cosmetica, for me, just knocks it out of the park. They have 2 formulations now. They have the traditional cream one, which I'm obsessed with, and they also have a serum-based one, which I think has niacinamide in it too, which I also really like. But I love it. But SPF 50 minimum, non-negotiable.
That's it. It's just going to be instrumental and part of your routine, no matter where you live.
100%. It's just as important as your serum. It's just important as your moisturizer. It's a fundamental. You brush your teeth, you put your SPF on, and out you go.
Yeah, exactly. And where can people who are tuning in and who will tune in, is Augustina's Butter facials available? Like, can they book into a spa or a clinic and get something done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You probably can't see me, not because I'm a snob, but I just have a different approach to what I do. But we do have global partners. Everything is listed on augustinusbada.com. So you put in your zip code, it will tell you whether it's a Medi-spa, a dermatologist, a destination resort, a hotel, a day spa, whatever. It will be able to let you know where we have those treatments available. We have 2 of our own branded clinics called the Skin Lab, one in London at the Lanzerhof, and then also one in New York at the Webstar in Soho. We will be expanding more, obviously, as the years go along, but we are in many Four Seasons, Ritz-Carlton, St. Regis's, things of that nature. So best thing to go to our website and you'll get a full breakdown of where it's available. And I do know that I'll be coming out to Australia very, very soon to do training around offering the facial technique at some of those flagship Mecca stores. So if you're you're in town, then that will be happening. Maybe you'll be my guinea pig.
Oh, book me in. It's a date.
Perfect.
I can't wait. Thank you so much for your time today, Gavin. I know obviously you're about to fly away, so thank you so much for taking the time to tell us all about.
I just want to say before you go, I hope I answered every question that you
Oh,
had.
you did.
I
You
just want
did.
to say thank you, because what you do on your page is you give a voice to the often unsung. You take such a detailed approach to giving accreditation that's due to those who are working tirelessly. You know, I always say the ones of us who have back pains, neck pains, and knee pains, you think about us. And I think one step farther, you know, to do the hair and the makeup is the glitzy fun part. Like, that's optical, you see it. But you've always accredited and acknowledged my work, whether it's with Kate Blanchett or whether it's with Sienna Miller, whoever it's with. You've always taken the time, or Julia Garner, you've done the time to show my work and to acknowledge it. And for me, somebody that often gets left out of the narrative, it just means a lot to me. And I just want to say thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you so much for your kind words. It's an absolute pleasure. And it's for doing this and then being able to connect with you through this medium. It's just been an absolute joy.
Magic.
Yeah, it's
I
just
adore
magic.
you.
The universe has, brings us all together. And I really hope actually to be in LA for Oscars week. So if I can
Come. And I'm going to be in Oz way before then. So we'll have to go to that chocolate place that makes those chocolate frogs.
Oh, yes, we will. We certainly will. No, I'm trying to get there, and hopefully I can sort of logistically make it work so that I'm there at because it would be amazing to sort of see everybody and see you in your own hometown. So
I would love that. Keep me
yeah,
posted. And
I
until then,
will.
I'll see you in yours.
Yes, you'll probably be here first before I get to yours. So I can't wait to see you. And thank you so much again for your time, and thank you to everybody who joined in and sent us a
Thank you,
question.
everyone. Big cuddle. All right. Talk to you
Yes,
soon.
take care. Lots
Bye.
of love.
Lots of
Bye.
love.
Bye.
Bye.